In this video, we're getting back into panel work. This is what I'm up to. This video, we're concentrating on more panel work. So we're going to flip the bonnet over and paint that. I've got this guard out. I've done a little bit of sanding. It's back to 270, something like that. So I'll get that back to 320, then we can reprime that. Then I will sand back that other guard and then we can prime that. And then we'll do the hood scoop while we're at it. So that will be, other than the front bumper. Do I do that at the same time along with the grille? Maybe. We'll see as we go. Bought $2 drop sheets from Bunnings to cover the car so we don't get dust on it. Let's get into it. I've got the bonnet now flipped up the right way, so that's just needs a clean and is ready for primer. I've done a little bit more work on this front guard. There was a big bolt, a divot there and a little bit of dents in there, so I've fixed that, so that's all good now. And then we come to the other guard, which was technically the finished guard, has been rubbed back to 320. But while I'm here, I'm going to fix this section here. Now, my first thought when I first did this was, it's under the bumper, you won't see it, don't worry about it. But I don't like that theory anymore. I'm going to fix it, so I'll put a little bit of filler on there. You see those shiny spots, that's the low spots, so we'll get that fixed up. We also had a crack right there that I've welded up, so that's all fixed up now. So next step is filler, and then once that's rubbed back, we can prime it while we're priming the bonnet in the other guard to get things all done at once. Now, I did mention before, while I've got all this out in front of the car, I might do the front bumper and the grille. I just don't have enough panel pieces to be able to paint all that on. So it'll just be bonnet and the two guards. We'll do the bumper and the grille another time, because I also have to paint the hood scoop too. So that's 4 things that have to be painted. I just don't have the room to be painting everything at once. So that's the plan at the moment. I'm going to fill that and we'll get back to you shortly. That's the first layer of filler. I'll sand that back and we'll suss out how much more it needs, but it's got to look better than what it did. Filler round 1 is complete. Now that's how dinged up this bottom section was. There's high spots around there, but they're not too bad. Now I've got to refill and do the bits that are chunky, and then we'll call it good. I need a little bit more around in here because that's a bit low. And then I've got a little ding right here that I want to fix. Like, it's just got a little fold over there on that edge. So we'll fix that up because that will be visible on the car. But I'll mix some more filler up, do this, and then we'll sand again. It's the morning after the day before, so this has had time to set and harden. I did get the bolts done, so I remembered that, so that was good. And I also bought another panel stand because this table's nowhere going to fit 2 guards on it, so I had to do that. This guard here is looking spectacular. But this guard here This is the one that was painted, has got some deep sanding scratches in it, especially around this arch here and up the top here. Hopefully that'll sand out when I sand down the high fill, but if not, we'll have to do a lot of sanding on that one, I think. But all in all, pretty good. Now, for the fun part of sanding again. I'll coat it all with, what's that black stuff called? Guide coat. And see where we're at. And just like that, it's 2 hours later and half the bonnet is rubbed back. I have gone around and fixed up a few little pinholes and stuff that have been in there, and the ones that I could see on this side. So making good progress on that. And I keep forgetting how big that hood scoop is. It's freaking huge. I keep thinking it's probably about half the size in my mind, but it's bloody huge. And I don't know when it comes time for colour how I'm going to paint it. I just don't have the room. I don't know. But the rubbing back's going well. 2 hours in, it's looking good. Back to it. Well, it's a few days later and I've made a bit of progress. Bonnet's finished. I don't remember if I mentioned that, but the hood scoop is now finished. And I started on the guard with the really deep scratches, and that is now completed. So I've just finished that off. So where you can see the bits of filler around, that's where those huge scratches were. A lot of them sanded out, but the really deep ones I just filled in. So that's good to go all the way around. Now the only thing left to do is the other guard, and then we can start thinking about some paint again. Righto, the sanding is now completed. So this was the final guard that I had to do. I've just finished rubbing that back. A lot easier than the previous one. Only a few small imperfections in that. A little bit there and a little bit in there. Just a couple of low spots, but that's all fixed up. So now it's a massive cleanup before I start painting. But I do have a dilemma. Right, the dilemma I have is I need to paint 4 things: bonnet, scoop, and 2 guards. I've only got enough room really to paint 2 things at a time, so I'm not sure how to go about this. While I'm cleaning up, I will work out how I'm going to do it, because the underside of the scoop and the back sides of the guards, like in where the bonnet sits and inside the front door jambs, needs to be painted first. And I don't believe it's trying to paint 2 guards at once on the same stand. I'm not going to be able to get the paint in there where I want it. And if I do, it's just going to make a mess and run. I can see that already. Do I paint those undersides first, let it dry, flip them over, and then go again? What do I do? Now just thinking about it, I've also got to paint all the bolts. So that's 5 things that have to be painted on 2.5 stands. I guess I will try mixing things around. Obviously the bonnet isn't going anywhere. That's got to stay on that. Can I get 2 guards safely on 1 stand and be able to hit all areas and paint it? That's the dilemma as well. And do I hang the scoop up somewhere so I can paint that? Because this half table that I've got just down here has all the bolts, so that's where they're going. Or do I hang the bolts somewhere and paint them and put the scoop there? Now you're starting to use your noodle. I don't know. I'm going to start cleaning up, and that's something to think about. And you'll find out later in this video when I'm getting to the paint stage after I've cleaned everything up on which way I eventually go. Hopefully it's the right way and I don't mess anything up, because the guard that is here has been painted twice and rubbed back twice, and there's no way I'm rubbing back that thing back a third time. So let's get this right, take our time and be 100% sure on what I'm doing. I'll catch you up when I've got the plan. The time has come to paint. Now there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to paint it all in once, so I've decided to split it up. So I'm going to do this guard, the bolts, and the back side of the scoop, and then in a couple of days then I'll do the bonnet, the other guard, and the top side of the scoop. So that's how it's going to be. I just don't have the room or the equipment to do it all in one paint. So let's get at it. All right, I just started with a light coat because I don't want to lay it on too thick and get it running. So I'm going to let that flash off. There's the bolts down there done, that coat, and then just that part on the guard there. That's all I'm doing today. So we'll let that flash off and we'll go again. Well, you'll have to excuse the mask because it stinks in here. I have the underside of the scoop ready. I just painted the center of it blue because why the hell not? Had enough paint, so I did. And then we come across to the guard, and it looks quite good off the gun. There is some dust in it, which I can't really do much about, but it's pretty darn good. And there we have the bolts. Now it's come out really flat, which I'm very happy with. Now it's got good shine straight off the gun, like as you can see by the light there, but again you can see the dust in it. Now that will buff out when the car's cut back to the end, but if you look there you can see the reflection in the paint already. It looks pretty darn good to me. The hardest thing probably about it was getting up the underside in here. I just couldn't get the right coverage because of the angle of the dangle. So I think I ended up getting it all right. But this is probably the flattest that I've painted anything so far. So it looks really good, other than the dust in it. But as I said before, it will come out when we do the cut and polish at the end. So I'm glad that I covered the bonnet. As you can see, the overspray everywhere, so that worked out well. So I'm going to let that harden up for a couple of days, and then we'll get into the bonnet and the other guard and the top side of the scoop. See you in a couple of days. Here's just a quick snippet of the reflection. And yes, that's some of the crap that got in it. It's the next day. I'm just checking out how things look. I did make an error with my bolts. I moved it last night and wasn't paying attention and dropped about 5 of them. And of course they chipped when they hit the ground, so they need to be repainted. I'm just going to spray over those next time I paint. But this guard is looking spectacular. It's like glass. Unfortunately, I've got a run there, but we'll work that out later on when we have to work out the other runs in the car. But as it is now, the cooler weather, it just hasn't hardened up, and I'm scared to move it because I'm going to ding it on something and then I'll scratch or chip the paint and then I'll get really angry. So the only thing to do is let it sit for a few more days. It was a nice day today. It is now touch dry, which is good. It's lovely to touch it. So smooth. But that's besides the point. So I think the next couple of days are also going to be nice days. So I think the only thing I can do is let it sit and cure properly, or get a heater out here, which possibly I could do. Anyway, I'll let it sit, and then when it hardens up, I'll move it, get the other guard on here, and then I can do the bonnet and the top side of the scoop. Now I know it's not hard enough because I don't really care about this section here. I just ran my nail on it and it's leaving scratch marks in it, so that's how I know it's too soft. So if I were to even flip this over, it's just gonna, whatever I put underneath it, it's just gonna wreck the paint, even though that's the underneath. But I don't want that. It's just gonna eat at me. So a few days break is what it's gonna be, unfortunately. I'll see you in a few days when I'm ready to paint once again. Okay, the painting is about post 1 hour. How good does that scoop look? Look at the reflection. And then we head over to the bonnet. Look at the reflection. And I also done that guard. Again, reflection. Unfortunately, a little bit of trash in the paint again, but it is what it is. Nowhere near as bad as what the other night was with the other guard, but pretty freaking stoked with the way it's looking. Look at that reflection straight off the gun. Magnificent. Who says this painting thing's hard, eh? You just need a clean shed. If we can get one of those, we'll be laughing. Bloody brilliant. I've just come in the next morning to do a few things, and we've got the sun coming in the window at the right angle, and oh my God, this looks bloody magnificent. How vibrant is that blue? I'm not sure whether the camera's going to pick up what I'm picking up through the window, but look at it. Look at it. Look at it. How blue is the blue? It's freaking blue. Just had to share. I'm so happy with it. Well, that's not a bad result for painting in the shed. That's probably my best painting to date on those panels there. Getting better. While I'm improving, the garbage that falls in it is an issue, but we'll sort that out afterwards. Now, the issue that I had doing these ones is because I had so many panels, it was too much. And I tried to do painting after work one night when the air got cold and it just didn't harden up quick enough. So learned my lesson there. No painting in the afternoons. It's got to be done during the day so it'll have time to harden and not have the chance for more crap to fall in it, that kind of stuff. So next video I would like to get into the interior again. I have received my new carpets. I have received carpet for the parcel shelf, and I've got some new seat belts to put in. So I'll keep working on that kind of stuff. And I would like to get the glass in before I put the carpet in, just so that stops more rubbish going onto the new carpet. I don't want, you know, I don't want dirty carpet before I even get a chance to drive it. And then once that hardens, you know, that'll give a chance for the panels to harden up properly, and they could probably go back on the car for the last time. So that will be exciting. I do need to check out, however, do I put the front doors on first, or can I put the guards? Because the pins are just got to work out how the pins go in. So if that's the case, then they won't be going on because I'll need to do the doors first. So I'll work that out once I unmask the car, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, probably interior stuff next. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.